Morning. Do you ever feel like you have your good days, don't you, and you have your bad days? And today, I feel like I've woken up and I've found myself in a Michael McIntyre show where I'm in like one of those things where they're playing jokes on you and all these crazy things are happening. And you're like, what's going on? And then they go, da-da, it's a joke, it's not real. I feel like I'm that person and I'm just waiting for them to go, da-da, it's a joke, it's all been a trick and it's not real. You know, you wake up and the first things I heard today was about the BBC being called out for basically promoting and doing a big propaganda piece for Hamas terrorists, basically. This is the BBC, you know, the world famous, revered, eloquent, esteemed world news service that the whole world respected at one point. And then I've heard that a climate committee is saying all the things they want to get done in the UK under net zero is going to cost 320 billion in the next like 15 years. And they're going to force us to like install expensive heat pumps, which don't work very well and are really noisy when nobody wants them. And they're going to force you to change to an electric vehicle, which nobody wants, and they're no better for the environment and in total are worse for the world than fossil fuel cars. And then the cost of energy and heating is all going up again after Labour promised our energy prices would not go up anymore and they'd bring them down by like £300. Well, they're going up again. And Ed Miliband has blamed cold weather. Yet we're being penalised like prisoners for a campaign which is all around the fact that the globe's warming. We're being told we need to eat less meat, travel more. Again, it feels like we're living in an open prison here in the UK, where you get told what to wear, how to heat your homes, how far you can travel. They whip you at insane levels for every penny you can earn, charge you a fortune for your basic energy and water. And then you're not allowed to leave your country either to have a little respite once or twice a year. And for what? And for what? Net zero. Who else is following this utter self-flagellating horsehair shirt insanity? Because I don't see other countries doing this. You know, I flew into Prague, 2 big power stations puffing away with smoke as I landed. I don't see this happening anywhere else. Why is little old UK seemingly being punished so much? Ed Miliband going, oh, again, net zero, we need to have our homegrown energy. Well, please show me what's homegrown. I do believe we should have Rolls-Royce nuclear reactors built. They have the technology, the expertise. We should just crack on like yesterday. But what's homegrown about shipping masses of metal, often produced through slave labor from China, for wind turbines which kill birds at insane levels and use diesel to work and often don't work, and we have to pay an insane amount to kind of support them not working sometimes? Or solar panels. None of these are recyclable. Solar panels that kill birds and bees, which none of us saw any bees last year, hello, in crazy numbers. And birds again, they all fly thinking it's water, land, and get electrocuted. They're all covering our food arable land, often again don't work, break when it's gales or hailstorms. How is that homegrown? We have a huge gas field that's just been found that could provide cheap, available, accessible energy. And Ed Miliband doesn't want to use that. Isn't that homegrown? That actually is homegrown. That is using the resources God has supplied us with. But no, let's buy it in at great expense and great transportation, environmental expense from America, Russia, Saudi, wherever, rather than using our homegrown coal, oil, gas. None of this makes any sense. And I wish somebody suddenly went, ta-da, it's all been a joke, because it really is a joke, and it's all at our expense, literally. And as I said, Starmer with his warlike effort, what an... The war in Ukraine is coming to an end, mate. Get your head around that one. And a warlike effort when we just closed our main virgin steel industry and we can't produce anything and we rely completely on China. China is our main adversary. I don't know if Labour know this, with all the spying that they've been doing and manipulation in our governments and political persuasion and everything else. Technology, you name it. And China are on a war footing. They're literally digging up all the land they have for food production. And China, who have over 30% of the emissions of the 3% that are man-made emissions of CO2, whereas we're like 0.8%. And they're building coal stations by the week. Their industries are flying. Money's pouring into them. While all our industries are closing. We couldn't produce anything in a war. And that... Then apparently we're losing 1,000 military personnel a month, I heard, due to woke. Whereas China, you see kids learning how to put rifles together from a young age. They're really switched on and clued up. Oh. Where do you start with this utter nonsense? Woke and net zero are literally a two-pronged attack, in my opinion, to destroying this country. And Labour can't be this stupid to not see it. Like I said, the main adversaries for us, and I think most people understand, are like Iran and China and Islamic terrorism. And yet our Labour government don't seem to be doing anything for that. Like they're looking at a big major hub for China in our capital city. And they're letting all these people in by boats that we don't know who they are. They don't seem to do anything when it comes to actually securing our safety as a country and our people. Nothing makes sense. Everything Labour are doing is destructive, regressive, divisive, debilitating, making us poorer, weaker, and an absolute laughingstock on the world stage. And who's holding them to account? When is anyone going to say, like if this was another government in France or something, I'm sure our government would be like, they seem like they've got a government that's gone haywire. Think something needs to be done. I just feel like we're completely adrift with this manic government who are acting insane. There is no other words for it. And like I mentioned in my other post, you can't have net zero and be on a war footing. We just really need to go back to basics in every essence. Use our own energy resources. Get rid of woke. Get rid of all the DEI. It'll save us a fortune. Go back to instilling confidence, fitness, patriotism in schools. Get rid of toxic masculinity. Get rid of all this gender nonsense. Promote patriotism. Really support our armed forces. Put money into it. give them loads of respect and thanks, and celebrate our armed forces, get our industries up and running, get the money coming back into this country, you know, get the steel up and running again, get our energy resources up and running again, so we can make stuff, we can heat stuff, we can create, you know, all of these things are what's needed for a strong country. And anyone who have you ever needed to get onto a war footing would need. And yet they're not doing that. They're on about spending 320 billion for us to minimize our 0.8% emissions, while China's 30%. Michael McIntyre, can you tell us that this has all been just some really big bad joke, please?